All right. In the interest of building each member's business skills, a different member each week is charged with presenting on a topic of their choosing for a 3-minute business growth section. Dr. Chris, did you know that you were in the chair for this week? No, that's great, because people obviously don't read my emails. That's perfect. So you've got, a 3-minute business educational snippet. I'm sure that amongst everything that you've done in business, in life, in work as a mime artist, whatever it is, presenting or whatever, performance,
Miss
you'll
T,
have a tip for us. Yeah.
in fairness, I think to Dr. Chris, there was no educational snippet person named in the last email.
Only in the last email, but in last week's email, in the chat box.
The one before.
Because I've decided I needed to keep checking.
If you didn't check last week's one, you know.
Because I was like, I see the speakers, but there's no educational snippet.
I don't believe in education anyway, so you know.
There you go. There's this snippet. It's done in 3 seconds. Education.
I'll have a manful attempt at it, shall I?
Go for it.
What now? Oh, okay.
Yes, you're on.
Okay, all right, fair enough. My name is Dr. Chris Willems from Arts Media Consultants, and my business is about helping professionals who loathe presenting get to love.
No.
What?
You to give us a tip, any business tip that you've picked. So it's not you. It's not about you. It's about any business tip. That could be a book that you've read.
Okay. Any business tip is my favorite one is no experience is ever wasted. Whatever you've done across your life, however long or short that is, even if you're working in different, disparate, apparently unrelated fields, whatever you do in those fields, even though it may not be apparent at the time, but eventually informs everything else that you do in any other field of practice that you're in. I'm sure most of you have discovered this in life already. But no experience is ever wasted. Everything you do informs everything else that you do and adds richness, depth, quality, and texture to everything else that you do. My background as a mime artist feeds into my coaching body language and also on camera communication, because I've also worked in television. So when you're, the most important part of business is communication, and the most important part of communication is human to human communication. And the more we rely on technology and the more technology impacts on our professional lives, excuse me, the more important it is to maintain those human connections, those human relationships, because that's what we relate to. We relate to each other as human beings, not which $20,000 camera you've used in the last, to make your video. We don't give a toss. We want to see the eyes. We want to see a human being that we can relate to. And speaking of eyes and human beings, can everyone right now look up at, rather than look at me on the screen, handsome as I am, can you look, rather than look at me, look up at your camera lens, up somewhere on the top, probably the top of your screen. There'll be a little dot with maybe a little green light next to it. Can everyone just look at that right now and say hello?
Hello.
I can't hear any of you because you're all on mute, but I can see you doing it. It's really important when you're using Zoom, if you're listening, it's fine to look at the screen. If you're speaking, lift your gaze up to the camera, because even though, when we're looking at the screen, we think we're making eye contact, but we're actually not. When we're looking at the lens, the irony is that we're making better eye contact from the point of view of our viewers, not from because I can't see any of you other than peripherally right now because I'm looking at the lens. Okay, so once again, just lift your gaze up to the lens and say hello.
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 Good. When you do that, I can see your eyes. When you do that, you're actually making eye contact. It's quite a tricky thing to get used to with Zoom. But if you're making, excuse me, business videos, it's really important, especially if you're using your device rather than like a standalone camera. It's really important that you don't look at yourself on screen, that you look up at the lens or across at the lens, wherever the lens is on your device. For instance, if it's on an iPhone, it might be to one side or the other. So look at the screen, and because again, it's that human to human contact that's really, really crucial. and we need more and more. We need the human contact in the overwhelming tsunami of 500 hours of video being uploaded to YouTube every minute. That is not a typo. 500 hours uploaded to YouTube every minute. So you've got to find a way of cutting through that. The best way of cutting through it is to be human. Thank you.
Excellent. Well done. Thank you so much, Dr. Chris. See, you can get put on the spot for an educational snippet and you will find something. This happens to everybody all the time. Most people aren't warned for the educational snippet, just so that you know. I mean, they're warned. They just don't know that they're warned. And you know what? Educational snippet comes off great every single week. So it says, don't worry, my plan works beautifully.